This show is not intended for the politically correct or the close-minded. Enter at the risk of opening your eyes. You have been warned.
Why does the media attack an issue? To get primetime ratings?
In my line of work, you got to keep repeating things over and over and over again for the truth to sink in.
The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
A moment comes when we step out from the old to the new, and when the soul of a nation, long suppressed, finds utterance.
To kind of catapult the propaganda.
You are listening to Open Eyes with your host, Ira Robinson. From the normal to the paranormal, from government cover-ups to the depths of our consciousness, we aim to explore all things. From the dawn of prehistory to current events, no topic is forbidden and nothing remains hidden.
No more secrets.
Open your eyes and open your mind to the fact that life as we know it is not as we have been taught. Join us at LateNightInTheMidlands.com or OpenEyesNetwork.com as we take this brief journey through the depths of the cosmos and explore what it really means to be human.
Many peoples have sacrificed their liberties, only to learn to their sorrow that deceit and mockery, poverty and tyranny are their reward.
Whether you're online or offline, intercontinental or intergalactic, hello and welcome to Open Eyes. It is Friday. We are live and we are in person with you. And if you want to call in and join in with us tonight, you can do so. The number is 260-494-3937. Our Skype line is JDA Film. And as always, we're over in the chat room at lnmradionetwork.com. Come on over and join in with us and get involved in the conversation. You guys can also find us over on YouTube at youtube.com/C/Open Eyes Network. I'd love for you guys to tune in over there. And don't forget, while you're over there, you guys can hit the subscribe button so that you get notified of when we put out something new, which is quite frequently. I would love for you guys to come on over and join in with that as well. We have a guest coming on with us tonight. We'll bring him in here in just a moment. It's Michael Chrobak. He's a very good author. I'm looking forward to having this conversation tonight, and I think that you guys are going to enjoy it as well. But I wanted to thank everybody for tuning in to last night's show, the Manly Man Show, and Joe and I had a good time with what we'd covered there, and hopefully everybody understood what we were trying to do with that show. It wasn't, again, about misogyny or anti-women or anything like that. It was just about, guys being able to be guys and kind of getting back to the way that things used to be with men being men and, all that kind of stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. So we got some good feedback from the show, though, so I think everybody out there appreciated what we were doing with it. Let's go ahead and bring our guest on. Michael, welcome to the show. It is great to have you here tonight.
Oh, I'm glad to be here. Glad to have this opportunity.
It is definitely my pleasure, to say the least. I've been looking into your books and what you've got to offer, and they definitely seem really, really interesting. It's sort of I did the whole bio, or the picture that I did for the show tonight was faith and fantasy, and it's kind of like this cool motif that you have going on with that dichotomy between the two. I appreciate it. I like that.
Oh, cool. I think that was one of the feedback I got from one of my first readers was that it looked like my book had something to do with Christianity and fantasy, and she was like, I don't know if those two really go together.
One of the things that I've read, we'll get into who you are specifically here in just a moment, I know, okay. But, it just reminds me, I've read some really interesting books that are, very much kind of fantasy bent, that are definitely Christian in nature. I mean, for instance, Frank Peretti, his This Present Darkness and Piercing the Darkness were just absolutely amazing books. I love what he did with it. And yet those definitely are the realm of, could be under that fantasy umbrella, right?
Right. C.S. Lewis with the whole Narnia series.
There you go. Great example too. And even Tolkien with the Lord of the Rings series, he had this the idea that he was going to kind of do this retelling of the Christian story with it all. So yeah, it definitely can happen. So anyways, who are you? Anyways, Michael Chrobak.
Man, that's a question I've been asking myself for a long time.
So what is it that brought you to writing? Who are you, and what have you been involved with to bring you to this point in life?
Well, I think that writing for me has just been kind of a way for me to kind of piece together the craziness of what my life has been over the years. And I never really, I've always found success in anything I did, but I never really felt at home at much of anything I did. And I never really stayed anywhere. Most of my jobs were a year and a half, 2.5 years, and I'd move on to something else. I think 6 years was the max I ever stayed at any one place. So I never really felt comfortable doing anything. And then when I started writing, I finally picked it back up after years of having not done much writing. I used to do it when I was younger. But I picked it back up and I started again. I was like, you know what, this I'm feeling something here. Like, this feels like, I don't know if I'm any good or not, but I'm going to keep on doing this until see where it goes. So,
a lot of people I think got started in kind of a similar way, just sort of throwing their hat into the ring and giving it a try. Mm-hmm. So when did you realize that this was like what you wanted to do, like as a full-time maybe thing? When did that sort of enter into your mind?
It came up more from the aspect of where my life was at the time. I had gone through some interesting health changes and literally became, almost pretty much homebound for a good couple of years. So I was really looking for, what can I do? I don't want to spend all my time just watching Netflix shows all day and whatnot. So, what can I do? What kind of hobby could I do? And also through the experiences I said of asking that question, who am I over and over again, especially over the past 15 years, real deep spiritual experience that I went through. I just started to sketch together in my mind, kind of a retelling of my story, but putting it into the aspect of another character's life, of telling a fiction-based story, but really kind of trying to squeeze this is who I am through the pages.
I think, when I got started back in the day, I had this dream of being a full-time author, and then it sort of went out the window, to say the least. Life interfered, life got in the way. And then, of course, a lot of trials and tribulations have happened over the years because of different circumstances I've put myself in. Yes, I put myself in them, folks, but anyways, but then, just a few years ago, basically, I decided to pick that hat back up again and give it a try again. And it was sort of because of, my vision. I lost my vision pretty much as you can get without being completely blind. And I decided, instead of trying to force my way into figuring out where I could work with this going on, it's like, who's going to hire me? Where am I supposed to go with this? So I thought, I'm going to give this another try, because I can still, write. I can still get the words out. And I still feel like I have a story to tell in some kind of fashion, So that was sort of what got me back into it.
Yeah. And I think there's some similarities there with myself, because, my books are targeted for a specific audience, are targeted for high schoolers, especially those that are involved in religious education type programs, because they do tell a story, a Christian story of young people exploring and examining the questions of what does faith mean and what is my place in the world and whatnot. And after having volunteered in that area for years and worked within the area for years, and then suddenly being without that opportunity to really be mobile and to get to where the kids were, I shouldn't call them kids, the teens. The writing became that way for me to still continue to maintain that connection and still kind of be a guide and a mentor for the teenage our teenagers who I have to say, I'm just going to put this out there. I absolutely love what they're doing right now. I absolutely love the stance that they're taking and the kind of, hey, we've had enough of letting the adults run the world kind of attitude. I really do appreciate and respect them for standing up and having the courage to do that.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I may not agree with the method or the things that they're doing, but I agree with the idea that they need to, assert themselves in some kind of way. Because I think one of the things that we've seen so much over even the past 20 years is more and more, overprotectiveness of the youth is kind of the best way that I can put it. So many people have this idea that we have to shelter them from everything, and that doesn't teach them anything. They have to be exposed to things to be able to learn how to handle them. Otherwise, things are just going to keep going badly.
And I think one of the worst things somebody can say is that the youth are the leaders of tomorrow, because that completely negates the fact that they are able to be leaders today.
Right, exactly.
They might not be doing it in the right way, but let them make the mistakes. Let them get out there and let them figure things out on their own, and give them the opportunity to have a platform and have that chance to experience, what it's like to have a voice, rather than just say, oh, you're tomorrow's leaders. Well, we can't wait for you guys to take control down the road, when we no longer want it or whatever. It's go ahead and give them that. They have the ability. They definitely have the strength and the desire and the energy to do it. So why not?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that more people kind of brush them off without really looking into what they can do to actually help them. Maybe guide them in the ways like if we don't necessarily agree with what they're doing with that energy, we can guide them to steer them towards, a more appropriate thing, or, whatever the case may be. And I don't mean necessarily just what's going on right now, but I mean, just in everything, with life. It's like instead of, taking this energy that they have and sort of, steering them like a laser pointer, we sort of give them all the tools and say, here, use it as a shotgun and see what sticks, and while that doesn't really work very well, they have to have something in their mind to help them, focus, and become targeted,
Yeah, exactly. I think we're too afraid to have our children fail. And we really need to give them the opportunity to do that.
Sure, exactly. I mean, I grew up with a lot of different fails, I tried many things, and it reminds me of Thomas Edison, who said, I failed over 1,000 times, but I succeeded that once. And that wasn't even failures. Right. Those 999 times were the steps that I had to take to get the one step that worked. So you can't even really say that they're fails, because every experience that we have is something to learn from. Whether it works or not doesn't matter. We still tried. We still made the attempt to make it happen.
Yep. Anybody that's ever played golf knows that.
There you go. Exactly.
That's not where I wanted to hit the ball, but let's move forward. Go find it and hit it again.
Yep, exactly. Real quick, I just wanted to interrupt here. A happy belated birthday to one of my longtime listeners, Casey. Her birthday was yesterday, so just wanted to toss that out there. I just saw that she was joining in with us. So
definitely.
So happy birthday, belated there, Casey. She's been with us since we joined over there on YouTube, and has I don't think missed one single show. So I appreciate my listeners out there. Anyways, so definitely. With the writing, so with how did you make the choice to do fantasy? Is this a genre that you've always loved to read, or how did you get the idea to go in that direction with it all?
Yeah, I grew up with both science fiction and fantasy. I grew up reading Narnia, and then moved on to Conan the Barbarian, and moved on to Lord of the Rings and Isaac Asimov and Arthur C. Clarke, and a lot of the big names in the fantasy and the sci-fi world. But I wanted something that the teens could relate to, and I wanted to give a platform where it wasn't really black and white. Where there was room for a lot of grayness, because I honestly believe that within spirituality there is. not so much if you're talking about religion. Religion is very much black and white. You do this, you don't do that. But when you're looking at spirituality in the aspect of what is my personal spirituality, how do I feel like I connect within this overarching realm of who I am and the world and what the world is and where did everything come from? There is no black and white. It is fairly gray. So I wanted to give that opportunity to kind of bring in elements that come from the world of fantasy, and that's how I created these teenage superheroes that all have spiritual powers based on the fruits of the Holy Spirit. So you take a fruit like charity, and now how does that translate into a superpower for one of these teens to be able then to manipulate and be able to interact with the world? And how can that actually then be seen within their own life, true to life, non-fantasy? How does that apply to them? So that's kind of where I went with that, the whole fantasy aspect.
See, I like that you based it on the fruits of the Spirit, because one of the things I've always said is, people seem to neglect those verses, that those are there, and so when it comes to, doing miracles or people, now doing prophecy and all that kind of stuff, it's like so many people think of, well, you're interacting with demonic forces and all that kind of stuff. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. It says right here that these things will happen,
Yep. And that we can do just as much as Christ could do and even more.
Even more. He said that himself, even more. Yeah, exactly. Yep. So it's funny to me how some people's minds end up, just kind of overriding those things and not even seeing them.
And again, I think that's the difference between religion and faith.
Yes.
Or religion and spirituality.
Yeah.
Spirituality says, go find yourself in the world and how you fit in, and religion says fit the way that we tell you to. So,
yeah, absolutely. For me, I was on the path to become a minister myself, and I ended up stopping because there were too many things I had questions about, too many things that I just couldn't, quite agree with the idea of mainstream Christianity and so on and so forth. So, but at this point in my life, I always say, I think I understand Jesus better now that I'm not a professing Christian than I ever did when I was a professing Christian, because I've been able to get more into the spirit of him, to understand the things that he was having to say and the things that he was trying to do, and I don't think anybody's ever going to truly understand everything, of course, but, we can all come at things from a different point of view and I think get to the same central point, which is seeking God, seeking that spirit that's there in the center.
And if you boil down all of the major religions down to really the core aspect, it is love one another, and everything comes back to love. Everything comes back to love and respect and treating others the way that we're meant to treat people.
Yes, absolutely.
It really doesn't matter. I mean, I was born and raised Catholic. I really didn't understand what that meant until I studied Hinduism and Buddhism and Confucius and looked at all of the other religions and read all of the sacred scriptures that are out there, all of the holy books of every different faith. That's when I really began to understand what being Catholic really meant, what being Christian really meant.
See, I agree. I've always said that one of the best things somebody could do for themselves is to take like a comparative religion course, or, do exactly what you did, reading different texts from different faiths to see those common places that are there with all of them. Because there are more things in common than there are not common with every religion that's out there.
So true. So true. And yet all we look at is the differences.
Exactly.
And where our world is today.
Exactly. When all we need to really do is just say, you know what, wait a minute, we're all looking for the same thing. I always say when it comes to the different faith stuff, or spirituality stuff, we're all, on this big wheel. At the center of the wheel is God, the God, universe, source, whatever you want to call it. It's there right at the center, and it's something that we're all seeking. The different religious things like Hinduism and Christianity and Muslim and on and on and on, all of the different ones, they're different spokes that are on this wheel that are all leading to that central point. But if you take away any of them, the wheel goes off balance. They're all really necessary in some kind of way, but you don't have to be on one or another or another. You can change from one to the other if you want to, but we're all still seeking that thing that's there at the center, no matter what it all comes down to.
I agree, and that's the aspect that I believe that I'm attempting to portray within these books, and giving them these kind of fantastical aspects or elements about them, to give the youth and adults. I have a lot of adults that read the books as well, but to give them an opportunity to see things in a different way than the way that the world is trying to teach them now.
Somebody in the chat room said that they tried to do the comparisons to other people that were around them, and they got shot down like they were some kind of witch on the stake or something like that, But the response that I would give to that myself, and I'd love to hear your response to it too, is not everybody's ready to hear that message at every given time. The issue is not the other people, it's yourself. If you're ready to hear it and you're ready to understand it, then that's fine. And you can try to spread that message to other people, but not everybody's going to be ready for that same message as you at that point in time. But they hear it, it's there, it's rattling around on their subconscious, and one day they will be ready for it. And they'll remember that you tried to compare these things, and they'll say, oh, maybe that's what they meant.
Very true. Very true. I can't tell you how many books I've gone back to and read a second or third time, years later, and picked up a completely different message.
And that's what makes reading very fascinating for me, because I've done the exact same thing. Even what my books that I would say are my favorite books, and I've read them, dozens of times. If I read them again, every time I read them, there's something different that I pick out or something different that I notice in it.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Yep. Very cool.
Yeah, I think that's the power of books.
So with your books now, what are your books called? Just for everybody that's out there.
Well, the entire series is called Brother Thomas and the Guardians of Zion. And then each book has a title. Book 1 is called Foundations of Faith. Book 2 is The Paladin of Panama. Book 3, which I'm working on right now, is going to be called The Guardian's Crest. And they each deal with, there will be a total of, I'm anticipating there's going to be a total of 12 all in all. They will be broken into 3 groups of 4. So each group of 4 books could be read as a standalone series, and then there'll be 3 of them all together. Kind of like the way Star Wars worked, where, we didn't really know when the first 3 Star Wars came out that there were all these other Star Wars out there as well. Some of them before and some of them after, but you could actually take each of the 3 trilogies, if you will, and really they are a standalone in and of themselves. And that's what I'm doing here, only I'm going to be doing it as quadrologies, books of 4 rather than books of series of 3. So
that's cool. That's a good idea. I like that. Have you decided, are they in print or are they ebook only? Just trying to verify. I think.
Oh no, they're in print.
You had them in print too,
I
didn't
went
you?
to print first. Yeah. I went to print first, and then did ebook after.
I thought I saw that, but I just wanted to make sure. So, and everybody can find those on like Amazon. And what's your website as well?
My website is michaelchrobakauthor.com. So MichaelChrob as in boy, AK author.com. And my books are there as well.
Very cool. I just want to make sure to get the info out there towards the beginning of the show. We'll give it again at the end as well. But that way, if people want to go and look while they're listening, then there you go. So with them,
you can just search for Brother Thomas and the Guardians of Zion too. It pops up.
There you go. That'll work. So with the books in print, did you go through like a traditional publisher, or did you self-publish doing those?
I self-published, but I have I kind of started my own publishing company at the same time. So Seneschal Publishing, which is the logo that's on the back of the book, that's my brand as well. So they have the publisher's imprimatur, if you will, or whatnot on them. But that's just a brand that I own.
Very cool. That works. That works. I went kind of.
I may publish other people's books. At some point in the future, I might publish other people's books. I don't know. I still haven't decided that yet.
That'd be really cool. That'd be interesting to open up.
Yeah, for sure.
I've gone through a traditional publisher myself, and I definitely have enjoyed it. But I've also done self-publishing, not of print, but of ebooks. And so I'm kind of one of those hybrid kind of guys where I've done, both in different ways, and sort of strategized my way to having some books that I'm doing exclusively ebook, and then others I'm doing both ebook and print. And it's worked out pretty well for me so far. I think I'm going to keep on going with this pattern of things. I love my publishers. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. I think the biggest difference, especially for those that are thinking about going down this road and don't really know, is the level of control. I went with the self-publishing because I had the ability to choose the cover that I wanted. I had the ability to choose what content went into it. I didn't have anybody saying, we're going to cut out this entire section. You need to rewrite this. You need to rewrite that. I could pick my editors. I could do all of that. I chose my own marketing campaigns, so that the control was within my pocket, not within somebody else's pocket. Am I going to sell as much as if I'd done traditional? Probably not. But to me, that was never the important thing. To me, the important thing was getting these books out there, because they had been living inside me for too long.
I definitely understand that one all too well. Yes. Yep, indeed. I had my first book that was published by the traditional publisher. I had that one sitting basically on my computer for about 2 years before I even showed it to anybody. So I definitely know how it is. But, it's because, again, I didn't want to lose control over things. But the publishers that I found, they're really good about letting me make a lot of the decisions with what is done with my books overall. They take care of a lot of the marketing and, making sure that they get out to the right places and so on and so forth. But when it comes to the actual content of the book, they edit, but they don't say you need to take this out or this needs changed or anything along those lines. They're pretty freeform with how I'm able to do things. I'm very lucky, I know, because I've heard, trust me, the horror stories when it comes to dealing with some of the traditional publishers that are out there.
Especially the big house publishers, yeah. There's a lot of small house and independent publishing companies that do operate as you're describing, and they do give that added advantage of having a little bit better reach. So.
Yep, exactly. So speaking of writing, so I always ask this of the authors that come on the show, because it's one of those things that I think a lot of authors that are out there that are listening, the up and comers kind of thing, they're so curious about. They want to know, what has been like your biggest trouble spot when it comes to writing? What do you find to be like the most difficult part of the writing process?
For me, definitely the biggest, the writing process, there's really not a whole lot of difficulty with. The marketing piece is where I stumble a lot, and you can really kind of get trapped up in what social media platforms do I go on, what content do I provide, and how do I attract readers and all that stuff. And there's definitely, there's some difficulty there. But in terms of the writing itself, I think the biggest stumbling block was getting to the point of saying that I was done and then letting it go. Giving it to somebody else to read, giving it to an editor and saying, tell me how I did, basically. I think that was the most difficult part, just in the fact that, especially with book one, I didn't want it to come back just, with, this is crap. I didn't want to have that reaction. There was a lot of fear and a lot of animosity about releasing that first book to somebody. Once you get over that first one, the rest of them, it becomes so much easier to do, especially if you find an editor that you can trust and you can work with, and they understand what it is that you're looking for and the direction you're going.
I know a lot of editors out there, or a lot of authors, have had trouble dealing with editors that want to change the message of the story overall, or kind of, I don't know, almost eat the heart out of the story overall. Mm-hmm. I had, one example was a person that came on my show, they were talking about an editor that they had to deal with. They had a character in their story that talked in a certain way. They had like a speech pattern that they were trying to emulate in the words that they were doing in the dialogue. And the editor, when they sent it back, they completely changed everything of the way that the dialogue worked to, completely, just totally radically altered everything. And they were like, whoa, wait a minute. You didn't understand anything that I was doing here. This is not going to work very well.
Right.
So it's really important.
That is, I think that's one of the biggest challenges of that. You need to take a break right now?
Oh, I was just going to say that's one of the problems, I think, is that people need to find the editors that understand what the story's about, what they're trying to do in the story, I think.
Oh, definitely. And not just editors. Your cover design person. There's so many people out there that can go into business with a click of a mouse button, set up a Weebly or a Wix or a WordPress account, and suddenly they're an editor or a publisher or whatever. And they don't really have the experience of doing it. So for any new author out there, interview. Find other authors, ask them who they use. Find editors that work within your specific genre. Not every editor can edit every type of book. And really, really do your homework before you spend money. You can spend thousands of dollars foolishly in this business very quickly.
Oh, yeah.
And get zero results.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially when it comes to editing. Some editors out there will charge an arm and a leg, right. and you might get back something that
they put it into a spell check program or something like Grammarly,
right.
and they spit it back out, and it took them 10 minutes.
Right. Yep.
If even that.
Yep. Exactly. So, it's okay for those that are authors that are out there that are listening and you guys are up and comers. It's okay to say no. It's okay to say no. And it's okay to say no to a publisher even too. If a publisher that you find, and they're willing to publish your book, but they're giving you, a bad contract, or they're not offering you what you think your book or your is valued at, you can say no, and try to shop for something different.
No, for sure. Yeah, once it's out there, it's hard to change. I could never take the Brother Thomas series to a big time publisher now because I've already self-published. They don't want somebody else's book, basically.
Right.
There might be a smaller house publisher out there that'd be willing to pick it up, but I couldn't approach into the big name houses and say, hey, do you guys want to do this? No, I'm tired of trying to sell it myself. Once it's done, it's done. So. If you're going to choose someone, if you're going to choose a publisher, if you're going to choose a certain route, know that's pretty much it. Make sure you're making the right choice.
Exactly. And you want to go with your eyes wide open, so to speak.
For sure.
Well, listen, let's hit a break here real quick. And when we come back, I've got a couple of questions that have come in from the chat for you. And we've got some other things that we're going to get into as well. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
All righty. You guys are listening to Open Eyes. If you guys want to call in tonight, you can do so. The number is 260-494-3937. Call in number. Yeah, no. Skype ID is JDA Film. And as always, we're over in the chat room at LNMRadioNetwork.com. Sorry, my brain got a little distracted there for a moment. Anyways, stick around, folks. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Why subscribe to Late Night in the Midlands, you ask? Well, I'll tell you why. Late Night in the Midlands covers everything, and through the thousands of expert guests who have joined Michael Vera on his show, come pieces of the big puzzle, which started many years ago. Michael and his guests reveal information dating back to the beginning of time. To this very moment, Michael Vera not only brings you the best guests with the best information, but Michael is not afraid to call out those who are less than honest. You see, in this day and age, we need a radio show we can count on and a radio host we can trust to expose the truth one show at a time. So become a late nighter and subscribe now. Talk radio like no other. Late Night in the Midlands, bringing the truth back to talk radio.
Have you ever heard of Audible? Audible is a website with hundreds of thousands of audiobooks. They're all high quality, easy to listen to, and, best of all, if you take advantage of a special deal that we've worked out for you, you can get one for free. That's right, a free audiobook of your choice in any genre, simply by going to audibletrial.com/openeyes and signing up for the free trial. It's simple to do, and it would support the shows that we bring to you, and hey, you get a free book out of the whole thing. So why not take advantage of it today? Go to audibletrial.com/openeyes and sign up for the trial. Do you think social media is the end-all be-all? Do you live and breathe by Facebook and other platforms? Do you spend hours and hours endlessly going through posts by alleged friends in an endless quest to have a life? You need Fakeaway, available exclusively through the L&M Radio Network. Our crack scientific teams have worked tirelessly to perfect this product and have made it available to you through this limited offer. Fakeaway can solve the problems suffered by you and many others. It can help you understand you have been snowed by the fake media, the social media biases you encounter every time you click refresh, and even help your hair grow by keeping you from pulling it out over the smallest offenses. Get Fakeaway today, only through L&M Radio Network. Fakeaway is not for shills, disinfo agents, lovers of politicians who keep screwing the country, constant end-of-the-world predictors, liars, hostile radio show hosts, or snowflakes.
L&M fans and late-nighters around the world, have you captured something on that photo or video of yours? Send in your photos and videos of ghosts, orbs, UFOs, Planet X, or just about anything content-related by submitting them to the Late Night in the Midlands Facebook group or fan page, or you can submit them on Twitter using hashtag L&M Radio. And if you would rather stay anonymous, then email them to us at mv@latenightinthemidlands.com. We will share them at our new fan page on the L&M website and may even ask you to come on air a few minutes and tell us about your photo or video. Late Night in the Midlands. We're building a bridge to the truth and beyond.
From the author of Silent Steps and Haunted, Finding an Explanation for the Unknown, comes a story so chilling it will haunt you for years to come. Krista is a young woman escaping her past, running away from her family, her traumas, and her God, hoping to find a new life in a different town. But when she is forced to make a horrible choice, she comes to realize malevolent entities have controlled the true darkness she has been a part of. That is when her real terror begins. Penitence is disturbing and evocative. It will tear down the walls between what is real and what is nightmare. Penitence is the new novel by the man called the new master of speculative fiction, Ira Robinson. Find it and all of his books at his website, originalworlds.com.
Sailed away. We walked 1,000 miles and then we slipped away. We looked so hard, but couldn't seem to find us what the world was for. Now we know just what the journey's for. What do they think of you?
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Open Eyes. My name is Ira Robinson. Tonight we're here with Michael Chrobak, and hopefully you guys are enjoying the show so far. I know I definitely am. It is a Friday. We are live and in person with you, and if you want to call in tonight, you can do so. The number is 260-494-3937. Skype line is JDA Film. As always, we're over in the chat room at lnmradionetwork.com. Come on over, join in with us, and become a part of the community over there. It's always a great time, even if it is Mercury retrograde and everybody's kind of having friction going on. I don't know. It's been a crazy day so far. Anyways, Michael, we are back. Thanks for sticking around with us there.
Oh, yeah, not a problem.
So before we took the break there, I had a couple of questions that came in from the chat I'd like to go ahead and hit you with here in the time that we have left. So one of the listeners was asking, have you ever written anything that really hurt you to write? So like maybe something that was really emotionally potent or things along those lines.
The book that is not part of this series, but I wrote it kind of in between writing book 1 and book 2 of the series. But I have a book out there called Where Angels Dwell that starts off about a year and a half ago. I found myself in the hospital in respiratory failure and wound up on intensive care and in a coma for 3 days. And I didn't even feel sick, literally 2 minutes before we called the ambulance. I wasn't even feeling poorly at all. So to reach the point where, I kind of almost died, if you will. They gave me less than 20% chance of making it that first 24 hours. But writing that book was hard because it really put me to the point where I had to examine, my entire life. Like if that had been it, if I hadn't made it, would my life really have meant anything? Would it have been enough? And so starting that book, although it is a fiction book, the first 2 chapters pretty much are almost verbatim what happened to me in that situation in the hospital and whatnot. So that one really did touch me emotionally because it really made me stop and take a look at my life and determine. And that's what the character in the book is doing, is really taking a look at their life and saying, is this enough? Am I doing what I really should be doing, what I was meant to do the day I was born?
That's really interesting. I think that most writers, I know at least for me and a lot of the others that I've talked to as well, they kind of use writing almost as a catharsis, whether the situation itself is in the book, the emotional content of the experiences that we've gone through definitely come through. And at least that is for me. I'm kind of like one of those empathic kind of people, I'm very emotional and I try very hard to make that emotion come through in my characters, breathing their emotions, so I think that when it comes to those kind of things in our writings, we hope that the readers like it, and respond to it. But at the same time, I think that we kind of do it more for ourselves than anything.
Oh, definitely. And again, that, to me, I've said this many times. I'm not out there to have the next New York Times best-selling book. I'm out there to write these books because I can't not write. The words just ache within me to get out, and I'm going to continue to write regardless of how successful of an author I ever become.
Same here. I 100% agree with you, Michael. It's because, it's like I have these stories within me. I have these people within me, of course, and every author kind of feels like they're schizophrenic sometimes because we really do have all these people that are within us, we have these things that are living and breathing and wanting to tell their stories in us, and if we don't, it's like, especially for me, if I don't write, I feel guilty. I'm like, I'm sorry, guys. I didn't do it today. I know, but
yeah, that's the hardest thing for me. As I had promised, I had thought that Guardian's Quest Book 3 would have been out by the end of last year, and I literally have written and rewritten the book probably 3 times. I've thrown it all away just because it doesn't say what I anticipated or expected or wanted it to say. And I was noticing I was putting too much of myself into it. I was trying to control it. So now this time I've gone back and I said, okay, what does the story want to say? And now I'm really loving it.
It's a lot better when it's that way. Yeah, I've kind of like become an over outliner, and I regret it a little bit, because a lot of times when I'm writing, I tend to go into that whole stream of consciousness style of writing, and if I'm having this big outline to follow, I kind of have to break myself out of it and get a little confused, because it's not my normal style. Usually when I do the outlining, I'm kind of more the beats of the story, just not pantsing it, because if I try to pants it, it's not going to come out, it's not going to work. I'm not going to finish the work. But, at least I have.
See, for me, it's the exact opposite. For me, it's the exact opposite. I tried to outline a book one time, and by the end of chapter 1, I realized the rest of the chapters no longer made sense. So I outline away.
See, I like that. I like hearing from different people about their styles. So when you set out to write, you don't really do much outlining then?
No, none.
Wow.
None. I sit down and I say, okay, which one of my characters needs to tell some of their story right now, and what is it that they need to say.
That is cool. I'm always impressed with people that can pants their way through a novel, really, because it's not easy to do,
I mean, it winds up sometimes like I said with this book, where I've thrown out 3 versions of it, well, probably 2 versions of it, 2 complete versions of it. I've thrown them out. I've thrown hundreds of thousands of words away because I just didn't like them.
Yeah.
So
I can understand that.
There's pluses and minuses on both sides.
Yeah, I can definitely understand. Definitely. Well, with your the actual nuts and bolts of writing, with the style that you do you have like a certain amount of hours a day that you work? I mean, is it like you go into your office and everybody knows he's writing from X time to X time, or do you just do it whenever you get a free moment?
Lately, yes, but that's only been because my wife and I adopted 2 rescue puppies about a month ago, and so their schedule is now my schedule.
Yeah.
It's worse than having children right now. They need to go out at certain times. They're awake during the day. They're asleep at night, and so I need to do the same. And so I try to force myself into the little windows I have when they're taking their naps and whatnot, and get whatever writing I can do in that time. But prior to, no, I would just sit down and write whenever I felt the urge to do so. And there would be, days or a week or so where I wouldn't write anything at all, just because I didn't feel compelled to put pen to paper.
Gotcha. So how many do you usually get in a day, or do you want to try to get in a day?
I can do as little as a couple of hundred. And I've had days where I've literally written, 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 words. I wrote, 4 entire chapters one day of a novel. The one I'm definitely going to continue to work on and finish up after the first 4 books of the Brother Thomas series are out, which is a space opera novel based on the Bhagavad Gita. And that one just it flowed. It just absolutely flowed. It was almost like impossible for me to keep myself from writing. And those are magic moments, because you realize that you're just a conduit between the novel and the computer, that you're recording everything down. It happens so seamlessly.
That's awesome. See, and that right there is one of the reasons why I love writing. I love those stream of consciousness moments where it's like you just disconnect, you listen to the music or whatever that's going on in the background, and just let it flow. And all you are is just the fingers moving. I love those moments. Those are so zen. I love those moments.
Yeah. When you catch yourself crying or being surprised at something you just wrote, you're in that moment.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my gosh, that just happened.
I love it. It's one of the things that totally drives me to keep on doing it, because I want to explore. I want to find out what's going to happen. Because even if I have the outline, I'm still finding myself surprised by some of the things that are going into it. It's like again, although I've heavily outlined the book that I'm on right now, I mean, I put 17,000 words into the outline alone. I mean, it's just a massive outline, to say the least. But even though I've got all those words down, I found myself ignoring half of them.
Yeah,
which I'm okay with in the end, I guess.
I find a good place to start. Yeah.
So, who has been your biggest supporter with your writing? Who do you want to, I guess, give a really big shout out to with your writing?
Two people, and definitely number one, my wife. The fact that, because I was the major breadwinner when I was in the corporate world, and then, when we got to this point where I'm no longer working, and we really had to kind of readjust financially and whatnot, and can we make this happen? And what if I never sell a book? And, can this happen? I mean, my wife has just the whole time been, yeah, let's go for it. Let's do it. Yeah, we can make this work. It's going to be hard, but yeah, let's figure it out. Let's do it. And then the second person would obviously be my mom, because she has probably been my best salesperson. she has called me up more times saying, oh, so and so wants a book, and I'm going to come by and pick up a couple copies. And so those two people have definitely been my biggest supporters and my anchors.
That's awesome. My wife has definitely been mine, to say the least. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't even be writing today. I went through a couple of experiences where I had ex-wives that decided it'd be a good idea to destroy everything that I wrote to keep me from, having dreams. Basically, they were not the greatest people in the world, and I actually stopped writing for about 10 years after that, because if you've lost all of your works, these are our brain babies, right? These literally are like our children, and if something like that happens, it's really hard to describe the depth of despair that you end up going through with it. It's soul killing almost. So she kind of brought me out of that shell when we got married. She told me, listen, I love what you do. I love your writing. I'm going to be supporting it every step of the way. And she's definitely fulfilled her promise with it. I mean, even on the days when I don't feel like I want to write, I end up writing because I want her to be able to read what I'm writing. She's all excited about it. And I love it. I can't say enough about how grateful I am to be with her.
That's great. That's great. I mean, it is really important, and to have that cheerleading squad behind you, for sure. Which is another reason why I really, really love the independent author network that's out there, especially on Instagram. There is a great group of people that are out there that do nothing other than support each other and promote each other's work and share. When someone has a new book release, they share it on their posts, and they talk all about. And they're not going to make a dime off of this other person's book, but it's because we all understand the process of what it takes to get to that stage of having, especially your first book holding in your hand. You'll never, ever, ever forget that moment.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So get involved in the communities that are out there. If you're an aspiring author, find the communities in your area, find the communities online, get involved with them. They will help you, and they'll keep you from making some of the biggest mistakes that you could possibly make within the publishing world by answering the questions you have, rather than, you thinking you can figure it out on your own and kind of, like I said, picking the wrong editor or the wrong publisher or the wrong cover designer or whatever. Those communities can be of tremendous support. Yeah,
the likelihood that you're going to end up running across somebody that has experienced, the same people is very high when you're a member of one of those groups, so if there's somebody that's out there that's kind of worthless or is, being a shill and taking people's money or something like that, there's probably people out there that have been affected by it, or at least have heard about these stories, and can say, no, you don't want to deal with that person. So, cause there's a lot of missteps that can happen in the publishing world, especially as an indie, to say the least.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
So, with by the way, that group, I'm going to have to hit you up for the links to them, because I've been looking on Instagram to try to find, kind of the doorways over on Instagram. I'm kind of lost on that platform, to say the least. So I'd love to see more as far as that goes, and maybe share that out with some other people too.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'll send you some information on that.
Great. I definitely would appreciate it. Okay, so we're starting to come a little bit down on time. I've got some other questions that have come in. I want to make sure to get these in here. So what would you say is the best thing that you've written? Like when you had like that, oh my God, that was amazing moment.
It would definitely be, and and it's where the whole Brother Thomas series started, was the creation of one of the characters named Teresa. Her superhero name is the Endlessly Dying Girl. And the moment of realization that of what her power was and how it connected and what it was based on, that's where the whole creation of, these powers, her power comes from charity, which is one of the fruits of the Holy Spirit. Okay, well, what other powers could I attach to fruits of the Holy Spirit? So just that moment in itself where I had this aha moment, it was actually on a weekend retreat where I was taking photos of all of the teams that were on the retreat, and I was looking them over afterwards, and I saw a young woman I had never seen before. And I'm like, okay, there's only 90 teams there. I couldn't have missed her from Friday night until Sunday afternoon. But sure enough, I had not seen her that entire weekend. I was like, well, was she invisible? And that just happens to be Teresa's superpower, is the power to turn invisible. And some teams can do that. They know how to kind of hide in wide open public spaces. And that became, the whole impetus for writing this. So that would be the greatest thing that I ever wrote, was the creation of Teresa, the Endlessly Dying Girl.
My daughter Crystal could definitely have that superpower. She is as introverted as it gets. She's so introverted that she disappears constantly.
Yeah.
She could definitely follow through with that one. I say that as she goes running away. So okay, how do you balance your I guess day job with writing? It's like, because everybody has, even if you don't work, everybody has this kind of quote day job, where they have to take care of their things. So like with you, with your dogs, you've got to make sure that they're being taken care of and everything. How do you find the balance with all of that?
One thing I do is I also write a blog where I do, a new post every day on different topics. And most of it is promoting and supporting other authors' works. And that's Eating Right, and that's WRITE. So it's eating, WRITE.com. And so I have to get that out there. I have to get my content out there, and I have to market that and whatnot. So the balancing for me is, I'm going to take care of everything else that I need to take care of as quickly as I can, and I'm going to do things ahead of schedule. So sometimes I'm 2, 3, 4 weeks ahead on my blogs, and I've got them sitting and waiting to post, and they'll post automatically when the time and date comes around. And then I know that I have nothing to do, and I've got 2 or 3 weeks where I can just focus in on writing, and I'll dive into the writing, and I'll just immerse myself in that. I'll leave all the housework, I'll leave everything. I'm just like, okay, it's going to get a little dusty for a while. And I'll just immerse myself in the writing. So preparing yourself so that you can, so that you don't have anything, when you get to that moment of writing, you don't have anything else on your mind. You have to, you can't be thinking about, what am I going to make for dinner? And what am I going to, do this? And, the laundry needs to get done. All of that needs to be, at least for me, needs to be off my mind. Then I can sit down and my mind can become a lot more freer, a lot more relaxed, and the words really start to flow.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that. It's like with myself, if I have, too many distractions that are going on, it really kills my process. So a lot of times when I sit down to write, I have my music on really loud in my headphones so that I don't hear, the kids having arguments with each other, or, somebody hollering or whatever, I just, because it'll disrupt, it'll kick in. And unfortunately, I will say, being the station manager for the radio station and also doing the radio shows that I do, a lot of people send me messages, so the messages come in and I, have to peek my head up and, what are they saying? What's going on? So I find myself, if I have, kind of like, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 of those happen within a writing session, it like completely distracts things away from being able to do any more. I like to, if I'm going to write, I kind of like to slot myself for a 2-3 hour period where I'm not going to be disrupted at all, and just let the words flow. And if I can do that, I feel really satisfied. And I know I'm lucky that, I'm able to do that most of the time, but there are definitely those days where it's not going to happen today.
Yep.
I kind of have those moments of good time.
Be critical of yourself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't be too critical of yourself, especially for the first draft. You know, if the first draft is coming out and you're not liking it, good. You're not supposed to.
Yes, exactly.
You're gonna like it in the edit.
Everything's fixed in the edit.
Exactly.
Well, you know, that's one of the reasons why I like this. I got one of those free write devices. I don't know if you've ever seen those or not, but it's basically a device that's just for drafting. It's like having an electronic keyboard, essentially, typewriter, essentially. It's just got an e-ink screen on it, and you just type into it. There's literally no way to edit anything that you write other than backspacing. That's it. So I actually like that because it really has helped me to just let go. Don't distract yourself with editing in the middle of it and that kind of stuff. Just, you know, that can all be handled later. I like that flow of it.
Yeah. There's also some software programs that if you don't maintain a certain word per minute count, it'll start deleting what you wrote from back at the beginning.
Yes. Oh, shoot. I can't remember the name of this one, but it's it's like literally this hazardous environment that you're writing in. You've got to get the words out.
You're writing too slow, and then it starts eating your words.
That's a dangerous thing for me, that's for sure. Well, listen, Michael, we're coming down on time. I definitely want to thank you for coming on tonight. This has really been great.
For sure.
And again, you know, I warned you we'd have a lot more to talk about. We just barely scratched the surface here.
You were right.
So I would love to have you come back on again in the future if you'd like to come back sometime.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'd love to.
Awesome. Well, listen,
it was a lot of fun. I appreciate the opportunity.
I want to let you give time to get out all of your links of where people can find you, find your books, find all of your goodies out there. Give it to us. Hit us with it.
All right. Well, Amazon for sure. You just search by my name and all the books will come up. There's an old version with an old cover of the Foundations of Faith that's no longer available. I've seen it selling for like $230. You probably won't want to buy that one. But Facebook, I'm on Facebook under Michael Chrobak Author. I'm under Twitter as M Chrobak Author. Instagram is the same, M Chrobak Author. The website again is michaelchrobakauthor.com. And then there's the links to my blog there, eatingright.com. The link to my blog is on my website, and the link to my website is on my blog. So
awesome. Now, as a final question, and I will have all of that stuff linked up on the YouTube channel as well as the archive on my website for those of you guys that would like to go there and just click. There you go. Yeah, since you guys are listening to this, you guys can just do it that way. But anyways, there's a question that I always ask everybody that comes on my show. Every guest that comes on, they get asked this. And it's a weird question, I know, but it's one that I think is kind of important. Okay. So here's the question. Okay. If this is the last thing that anybody ever hears from Michael Chrobak, what would you like your final message to the world to be? What would you like the world to know most of all?
It was something I saw on an author friend on a coffee mug that she had that said, "Don't give up your daydream."
I like that.
Don't give up. You hear it. Most people say, "Don't give up your day job," right? Yeah, well, don't give up your daydream. Just like honestly, stick with it. Go for it. There's no reason to fear. The worst you can do is fail or create an outcome that you weren't expecting. Let's put it that way. There's, like you said, there's nothing that's really a failure. The worst you can do is create an outcome you weren't expecting, and so what? So you try again. You hit the ball where you didn't want to hit it. Go find it. Hit it again.
I like that. That's a good message to get out to the people. It's definitely one that I can get behind, to say the least. Good one.
Cool.
I've had the weirdest answers to that question, but that was a really good one.
Oh, thanks.
Well, listen, Michael, thank you so much again for coming on tonight. I really appreciate you being here and taking the time out of your day to come here, and hopefully your puppies will be understanding of it all.
Yeah, they're with my wife right now. She's on a little bit of a vacation. So
hey, there you go.
Taking care of them.
That works. Well, thank you again, and we'll definitely get back into contact with you to come back on again in the future.
Sounds good.
Alrighty. Well, we will let you go then and hit this break. And when we come back, we're going to have on with us Daryl Neely. He's going to be joining in with us for the last hour, and we're going to talk a little bit more about publishing. We're going to get into some of the things that are going on in the world today, all that kind of good stuff. So you guys can stay tuned. And yeah, if you guys want to call in yourselves, 260-494-3937 is the call-in number. Skype line is JDA Film. And as always, we're over in the chat room at LNMRadioNetwork.com. We'll be back in just a few minutes, folks. Stick around.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Do you need toner for your Epson, Hewlett-Packard, Canon, Brother, Apple, or Sharp printers? Look no further than Laser Technologies. In business for over 20 years, they offer the lowest prices on toner on the web. They can also repair your laser printers and toners fast and easy. Call their expert staff today at 561-792-9600 or email us at service@laser-technologies.com for all your toner needs. All toner is shipped nationwide. Why wait? Get the lowest prices on toner. Call or email us today.
Open Eyes Network now airs a live simulcast on YouTube. Our YouTube channel, youtube.com/c/Open Eyes Network, features not just our live content, but other videos as well, and is always active. So now you can tune in many different ways. Open Eyes Network shows air Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time live. Be sure to visit OpenEyesNetwork.com to find easy-to-use links to get to all of the places that you want to listen to our shows. And don't forget, all of our shows will now be archived as well on YouTube.
Why subscribe to Late Night in the Midlands, you ask? Well, I'll tell you why. Late Night in the Midlands covers everything, and through the thousands of expert guests who have joined Michael Vera on his show, come pieces of the big puzzle, which started many years ago. Michael and his guests reveal information dating back to the beginning of time. To this very moment, Michael Vera not only brings you the best guests with the best information, but Michael is not afraid to call out those who are less than honest. You see, in this day and age, we need a radio show we can count on and a radio host we can trust to expose the truth one show at a time. So become a late nighter and subscribe now. Talk radio like no other. Late Night in the Midlands, bringing the truth back to talk radio.
Dark secrets lie within the pages of Haunted, finding an explanation for the unknown. Within the dark of night, subtle sounds can be heard. Unseen hands reach out to touch, stirring echoes of past nightmares and paranoia. In Haunted, finding an explanation for the unknown, you will read chilling true stories of hauntings, demonic possessions, and everything that goes bump in the night, as we explore the hows and whys of haunted houses and more. Ira Robinson has not only been a man who has personally experienced the paranormal, but an investigator for many years as well, and brings his expertise to bear on this mysterious subject. What did our ancient ancestors think of the spirit world? What did they do as a response to their own paranormal experiences? Are the tools people use today to communicate with the spirit world not only appropriate, but safe to use? Can the dead return to us in some way in order to help us or harm us? You will find an answer to these questions and much more in Haunted, Finding an Explanation for the Unknown. Don't be afraid. The keys to understanding are in your hands. Find this book and all of his others at Ira Robinson's official website, originalworlds.com. Tragic devastation drove them underground. Abject desperation brought them back out again. Their world had changed. Alien creatures greeted them with misery in tow and enslavement in mind. Into this world a girl was born. Made mute by a mistake of birth, Aylin's inability to communicate with others of her kind was absolute. But natural things, animals, trees, the softly creeping things in the night, were open to her and had many things to teach her, including how to save her world from those beings that held her people in thrall. Aylin's first Silent Steps are just the beginning. Silent Steps is the first book in the Takik Cycle trilogy. Aylin is a young girl caught in a world that she is unable to communicate with, trapped between her people and the monstrous creatures that enslave them. With each step she takes, she comes ever closer to her destiny. Aylin has been thrust into the center of a power play for the control of her people, swept into a tide of events that will change the face of her planet forever. Purchase Silent Steps now at any major retailer worldwide, or online at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or Neely Worldwide Publishing. You can also order a signed copy at Ira Robinson's website, originalworlds.com. Hello everybody, welcome back to Open Eyes. My name is Ira Robinson. Tonight we're here with Daryl Neely. We had Michael Chrobak on there for the first hour. Great guest, wonderful writing. I love his style, and I hope that you guys go out and pick up his books right now. Right now. Why are you listening to this? Oh, well, wait. We still want you to be listening to this. But go buy his books. It'd be great. Anyways, for this last hour here, we're going to have joining us Daryl Neely. Those of you guys who are frequent flyers know Daryl very well. He is Odin. He is the man with the plan. He is just a great human being and all over nice guy. Hello, Daryl. How you doing?
Yes. Thank you so very much for such a wonderful introduction. All I can say to that is super gecko muscles.
Exactly. There you go. I always like to give you a nice lead up because, well, you're my publisher and I have to treat you right.
Thank you very much.
So anyways, what do you think of Michael? He was really good.
Oh, yeah. I caught the last, I missed the half and because I was downstairs doing some plumbing. And Lord and behold, you know, this cold weather and the water in your pipes. Michael was great. I have to admit, I was really interested in him also. I want to read some of his books. I got to get, Michael was awesome.
There you go.
The part I caught in was he caught my attention. And also because he's a good Christian man and because he's writing books that would reflect life in a very nice and gentle manner for the children.
Something like that. Yep, exactly. So
the only thing I can say to that, Michael, is they need their Cocoa Puffs.
Some days. Some days, yeah. Anyways, so with we're coming into the first days of Mercury retrograde, and it's definitely having an effect on people. People have just been going crazy the past couple of days, to say the least. It's like I don't put much stock into astrology and that kind of stuff, but I've definitely noticed when the Mercury retrograde kicks in, it does seem like there's a lot more friction between people, you know?
Oh, of course. I mean, I can even see it in my two little kids. They've gone crazy. A 2 and a 3-year-old. They jumping around and they talking about it. Something. Then they get a toy, and then one wants it, and then they want to go crazy with each other on it, and then they come running to me, and I have to solve the problem.
Yep.
Yeah, I understand what Mercury retrograde is.
All too well.
Yeah. But no, I see this insanity in the population. And that's what really gets to me a little bit more. I see people taking things way overboard and some not responding to the problem.
Yeah.
That's at hand.
Yeah, it's like it really does seem to impact the communication between people. You know, one of the things as a writer, both of us understand, you know, communication is really important when it comes to dealing with people. You've got to know how to smooth things out as much as possible. You've got to know, you know, when certain words are good to be used and when others are not. And it's weird to see people that you normally know are rather either genteel or would never, you know, act with certain kind of attitudes, to all of a sudden change during this time period, you know, into something else. It really, you know, it clues you in that something's going on, right?
Yeah, you see the gentle people becoming beasts and the beasts becoming docile. I mean, it's kind of a strange situation, but with communication, it most of the time you have to end up defending yourself or getting into that mode where you have to be as aggressive because they are not thinking correctly.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's like you've got to be the one to smooth the feathers, because they're not seeing that the feathers are even ruffled to begin with. Really.
Very true. They're not seeing anything. They see red automatically.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at one point I was thinking this Mercury retrograde was, you know, as we all are, we're skeptics at first, and we say, the psychics are wrong, and those people talking about the star alignment, and then you start to think back, you know, centuries ago, well, millennia ago, let's not go centuries, even to today's world, they do it. They look at the star alignment to gear how to make business plans and how to run a civilization, and, you know, it gives some validity to the situation of psychics. I mean, even King Solomon had psychics. David had psychics. And so that's your biblical. There's psychics in the Bible. And then on the other side, even in earlier civilizations, there were psychics. And they knew the star patterns. And those civilizations lived according to the patterns of the stars.
They had to. Yeah, they absolutely had to. There was no choice in it because, you know, they had to know the exact days where it would be, you know, okay to plant, the exact days it was going to be okay to harvest, the exact days it was okay to, you know, sacrifice a virgin, whatever the case may be, you know, on and on and on. But yeah, I mean, it's exactly how I've seen things happen. You know, it's like when you are working in the public, especially in like the more dangerous kind of occupations like emergency room operators, police officers, you know, so on and so forth. I mean, you ask any of them, Mercury retrograde absolutely is real, and full moons absolutely are real. Both of those things, they notice the people are absolutely crazy.
It's an insanity process that we as but the fact is still that we have been so taught and so indoctrinated with the idea of, you know, this is the way life is, this is the way it should be, and this is the way it's going to be. And then you start throwing these loopholes in there, like, you know, you get so dumbed down that when people start talking about retrograde, or when you start talking about the Stoic or the cultures of past civilizations, the common individual in this world will never understand. They don't want to research it. It's like it's almost as if it's a taboo.
I've been known to moon many a carnival during the streaking days.
And yeah, I was just about ready to say, speaking of crazy, we do have Crazy Cajun that has called in with us here. Doug, welcome. What's on your mind tonight?
I'm just hassling you because you're talking about stuff. So I don't know. I'm trying to rearrange speakers and stuff so I can hear you. The surround sound, I don't know what happened. I guess a lightning strike a couple weeks ago, it blew out the woofer and everything. And it's like now the surround sound is like, blah, 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 blah. I can't understand a word you're saying.
Gotcha.
So I'm shifting stuff around.
Well, Mercury retrograde has hit your speaker systems, and
it's over there.
Well, he's wearing the Saints outfit. I still don't like those Saints.
Well, who are you there, Daryl?
We'll talk about that one on another day.
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyways,
you need to do a sports show. Breeze just signed up for the Saints for 2 more years, and he's going to retire at like $25 million, $50 million. I don't know. It's not worth it, but whatever blows up his skirt.
You are the epitome of of the whole entire conversation. You have the ability to be Mercury retrograde at any time, but you are so docile and so happy.
Envious. Envy is still bigger than mine.
Oh, okay.
Well, anyways, so with the communication thing, with the Mercury retrograde thing, I mean, it's really there is something to it. Like I said, when you look at people that work in emergency situations, like police officers, firefighters, emergency techs, those kind of people, I mean, they will flat out admit, yeah, they absolutely see things happening during the Mercury retrograde as well as full moon. I mean, they call it lunatics for a reason, people.
I've seen many things, and I've shared a few things on Chatsy, and other things I will keep myself because they're just too nasty.
Yeah, well, we don't want to go there. That's for sure.
Especially saving people from the ocean that's been in there about 4 or 5 days.
Yeah,
the crabs start eating the eyeballs out. Oh,
that's definitely an ugly situation. We're gonna save that though because that's we don't want to disturb the listeners. Yeah. Anyways, so with all of that going on, with the craziness that we're seeing happening with the Mercury retrograde, I just kind of wanted to remind people to be more conscientious of the things that they're saying, the things that they're doing, the attitudes that they're having with people, because this time period, it really does seem to be more apt for friction to happen. They always say don't really start anything new, and be really careful because communication has a very deep tendency to break down in a big way during Mercury retrograde. And I have to admit, I've definitely seen that kind of thing happen.
Well, Ara, right here in DC, Mercury retrograde stories. Yesterday, a woman was had a gun pointed at her in front of it was like right around the corner from the police station. Gun pointed at her. She was told the guy got in the car, which is really weird, and they told her to drive down to the Anacostia Park, where he told her to jump into the water. And there's some other things that happen in between, but I won't say it because it's a family channel. But you can get the hint. And the problem is, during Mercury retrograde, you see a growth in violence. You get a growth of the, like you said, lunatics. You get the aggressive approach. You get the psychologically disturbed becoming more aggressive. And also, you see people, they say during this time period, they say people actually want to start more fights or wars begin.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. And I've seen that. I mean, we've had incidents where people that normally get along aren't, for some reason. And it's like, just chillax, people, walk away from each other for a little while because everything will be smoothed out here in a week or two once Mercury retrograde is done. I mean, you'll forget all about it. It's okay. Just let things go for a little bit because, before things get said or done that are permanent, I mean, that's really what it comes down to. So
the people also get to the point where it's like the youth are the primary antagonists in this situation as well. And also, I hate to say it, but women are and those that are very empathic. It's like those with high emotions or empathic abilities, as well as the youth in general, they take it to a new level. Example here, Maryland, the woman last night shot her husband and her child, and she told the police officer they were getting on my nerves. That's Metro retrograde. I mean, hold on.
I'm
Metro
glad we
retrograde.
haven't had a shooting around here in 20 years. You know, I live in a small town, Slidell, and you know, the police are pretty good. But I just, I'm not gonna go into. I just had an experience today with the neighbors. I'm not gonna go into. I was complaining to MV. I won't go into it, but that's the most excitement we have around here. It's funny as heck.
I like the term that Daryl came up with.
When the two people are arguing in the yard. It's funny. I'm Peyton.
I like the term that Daryl came up with. We're going to start calling it Metrograde now.
What is that P on the LBGTQ?
I mean, the funny thing about where you are located, crazy, is the fact that you have a cosmopolitan of people coming through a small, well, not rather small, a rather mid-sized to large area. And you get a lot of people from various points of the country that want to mix into the quote-unquote Southern Bayou style of culture. Now, that's a Metro retrograde in the making, because you bring in the city into country.
Yeah, unless you lived here a long time, you ain't going to integrate.
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
you have to live here about 10 years, and then you start understanding the culture and Ebonics and everything else. Some of these people, I still can't understand what they're doing the heavy French, like Justin Wilson did, like them dumb. We gonna go get them what?
Universal translator time. But that's
it's like you want to crank up Star Trek. What'd he say?
Yep.
But that's what you get when you get a multi-mixture of culture. And as those cultures mix in even more thoroughly, if Metro retrograde kicks off the way it's been doing around this country and around the world, guess what? You're going to have a lot of infighting in townships. I mean, I remember when I was younger, I was brought up in a town called Smithfield in North Carolina. My grandpa had the ham company there. And
I was stationed in Elizabeth City, North Carolina for 4 years, man. Beautiful country, man.
Oh, yes,
beautiful country. I loved it there.
And when there in that small town, we had all our mixture, but we didn't like the city folks, as we say, come in. Now the city folks have infiltrated. Those people, you know, those wise guys, city folks have infiltrated the township. And Lord and behold, not only just them, but you also got the Hispanic community that's moved into that town because it's a farming community. And tobacco's grown there, and cotton and other things.
Vietnamese here.
Yeah. And we also have those there too, Vietnamese and Koreans in the north side of town, and Indians. And I'm telling you, newspaper reports down home in North Carolina show that town went to high hell for the past 2 days. There was more incident reports than anything else. Arguing, fighting, wives getting mad at their husbands. Now down south, you know, the women are usually supposedly the most docile, but no, they're the most aggressive. Trust me, I know that for a fact.
I'm trying to figure out what that black thing is right there by my head.
It's called a hat.
Well, remember too that most people aren't watching; they're listening, so it doesn't too much matter. But anyways, one of the things I wanted to get into here in this second half of the show, not just the Mercury retrograde stuff, but there was something that I ran across that I wanted to bring up to you, Daryl, and see what you thought about this.
It's my mixer.
With okay, so you guys remember Halley's Comet, right?
Oh yeah, I remember when it came through.
So right now,
1986. Yeah, there's a bunch of movies on that, and people are gonna die.
our next encounter with Halley's Comet is going to be on July 28th in 2061. So it's going to be a little while before it comes back around again. But
I won't be around.
there's one man named let me see here, Jeff Williams, who claims to be a time traveler and says that Halley's Comet, or at least a piece of it, is going to crash into Lake Erie when it makes its pass through. He went to the future and he saw it happen. So here's what he had to say. Hi, my name is Jeff Williams. Hi, my name is Jeff Williams, and I time traveled to the year 2061 and back. In the year 2061, the world no longer exists. I was sent back as part of a top-secret group called Solarity in order to ensure that the timeline remains stable. So,
I don't know what to say. I'm sorry, I'm biting my tongue on this one. Ira. You know, yeah, he's getting it right. He's got it right. Ira, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Between the Earth is going to be destroyed September 28th, September this date, and all the David Mead, all these other quote unquote people giving their predictions, how many fools are going to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to remember that one?
Well, it's interesting, too, because there's been a lot of people that have been cropping up lately that claim that they're time travelers and saying that they're going to the future. And they've even gone to that point and beyond. And they have conflicting stories. They say the world is, just fine. There's others that say that the world is, there are massive wars and so on and so forth. But this guy basically claims that the planet is going to be killed because of this Halley's Comet crashing into Lake Erie, and that there's going to be nobody left. No people are going to be left. So there's definitely conflicting stories as far as the future events are concerned.
All right, I'm holding this one for a second because what I want to say clearly. People, if you believe these predictions, I want you all on the right side of the room. If you don't believe, I want to see you on the left side of the room. The reason why I'm separating you is because I'm going to put a wall between us. Because I am not going to take your BS and put it into my head as a form of indoctrination in any certain way. Do you believe somebody is a time traveler? If you do, stay on that side of the room. Don't come on my side. And if you honestly believe that the individual that claims to be a time traveler is going to tell you that a piece of Halley's Comet is going to fall into the water or fall into, Lake Michigan.
We have to worry about the Chinese space station falling down here. It's supposed to fall down between the next day and 2 weeks. So
yeah, we don't even know where that's going to fall.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's going to proclaim that prediction too as part of his quote unquote prophecies. The problem that we have in this world right now is we got too many people that want to say a lot of things to get money. I'm sorry. These schemes have got to end at some point in time. People wisen up. Number one, there's no one going to sit there and predict that how about this? I'm holding on my phone right now. I'm not going to show you the screen. I want some psychic or somebody going to predict. Tell me what's on my screen. Do that. I'll be the happiest man in the world. I will bow to you. Odin will release his power and give it to you.
Is it the L&M Radio Network's page?
Basically. I mean,
I want my prize, Daryl. I want my prize. There you go.
Give me my power back. But the bottom line is this. Without the stupidity involved, are these people really buying into this? Do they really buy into that guy telling us that,
there are people that do.
Come to the end? Why are they buying into? Are they just that hopeless?
There are people that do, because some people, I've talked about this on the show before.
Gloom and doom.
They have that addiction to the fear stuff. It's because You know, okay.
What a world.
Listen, let me explain this because if people have missed it, you know, they might not understand what I'm talking about here. All right, so basically, we get emotionally addicted to different things because of everything that we've gone through throughout our lives. There are these different pathways that we've laid out for ourselves to become addicted in certain ways to certain emotions and certain ways that the emotions ebb and flow. So, for instance, there are people that are out there that are addicted to fear porn, you know, to the world ending. So what they do is they will start to look around and try to see, you know, searching the internet. They're looking around. Oh my God, there's an asteroid that's coming. Oh my God, this is going to happen on September, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, we're all going to die. Oh my God. And then the time comes where that date happens, and then they see that there's nothing that happens, and they go, it's an emotional release.
To L&M.
That's appreciated. That's appreciated. But it's an emotional release that happens. And with that emotional release come endorphins. It's the same kind of chemistry that happens when you, use heroin or other kinds of substances like that. It's the exact same kind of dopamine response that occurs. It's these emotions that we're addicted to. So these things are very potent. They're very powerful. They will lead us into actually seeking out reasons to fear so that we can feel the fear and feed that addiction. Now, that being said, move to Detroit, you'll live in fear in a big way. That being said, though, there are people that are out there that know that people get addicted to these things, and they will put this stuff out over and over, knowing that there are going to be people that are going to seek it out, and they're going to click on their website, they're going to click on this ad, they're going to click on that ad, they're going to watch this YouTube video, they're going to watch that YouTube video. They're getting these clicks, you see what I mean? Which is doing what? It's giving them funding. It's making a living off of the misery of other people. And then when the event happens,
giving you hope.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then when the non-event happens, they say, oh, well, the aliens came and they said that they were going to delay this thing for another year. So now it's going to happen on September 23rd next year, not this year. It's okay, you know? And then people are like, oh, okay, I totally believe that. Let me go ahead and start getting emotionally addicted and start searching around again. You see what I mean? It's like, it's a cycle.
I just want 5 minutes to bend over and kiss my ass goodbye. That's all I care.
It's going to take 5 minutes.
Well, probably 30 seconds, but you know, I gotta pray first. You know, so it's gonna take 4 minutes and 30 seconds to do that.
Well, here's
and then
the thing.
30 seconds is bend over and kiss my ass goodbye.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, I'm gonna give this to the listeners. You see, this is my prediction. I'm gonna make a prediction right now. And I want you guys,
make it good now.
I want you guys to make sure that you keep me on track with this prediction, okay? Because this is a prediction that I absolutely guarantee it's going to come true. This is straight from God.
Eating some moon pies.
This is straight from God himself, okay? This is beyond fact, okay? You're listening right now. I want you to listen very closely. You listeners out there, listen very closely. You ready for it?
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Go for it.
You're going to die.
Hold on.
I knew that crap a long time ago.
Hold on. I'm going to what?
You're going to die. One day you're going to wake up, and that day you're going to die. There's my prediction.
So hold on, I'm going to wake up first.
You're going to wake up on that day.
Uh-huh.
And you're going to die that day.
Oh, okay. But
I want to die in my sleep.
What if I die at night and I don't wake up?
Well, but see, you've woken up on some point of time there. You see what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I did. Okay, you got me. Listeners, I want everybody to get their sheets of paper out in their calendars.
You keep me on track with it.
Die.
You keep me on track with it. And if you don't die, okay, and if you don't die, I was wrong. But the aliens made sure to make sure that you were protected. They wanted me to tell you.
I just want to live long enough to see man on Mars.
But
that's all
okay,
I care about.
so but the aliens told me to tell you that you are going to die on a different day.
Okay. Different day.
On a different day.
Not the same day?
Not the same day. It'll be a different day.
Okay. Now, did you get the message from the Gluttony Federation of Light Workers and?
No, I got it from Patty Broussard. Anyways, no, seriously though.
Manifested.
Seriously though, I'm trying to make. I know I'm making light of it.
PB&J.
I know I'm making light of it, but I want people to hear that message. Everybody on this freaking planet is gonna die. It doesn't matter when it happens. It doesn't matter how it happens. It's gonna happen. Okay. The point is to not be afraid of it, because you don't know when it's going to happen. Listen, I had a friend who was really into, living healthy. She ate nothing but salads all day long. Okay. She was a miserable person because of it, because she was forcing herself to live in a way that she did not really want to live, but she was afraid of death. And so she did this, whole healthy lifestyle kind of stuff. She walked out of a restaurant after eating a salad for lunch one day, and a brick fell off the top of the building, thwacked her in the head, and killed her. Okay, this woman lived in misery because of her having this fear of death and dying of, heart attack and cholesterol and all this stuff. And she walks out of the freaking restaurant and dies to a damn brick falling off of the building. Okay, you're gonna die.
I've had a 2x4 hit me right square in the forehead before when I was walking out my shed, and that's when I saw God. Believe me.
It's gonna happen to everybody. It doesn't matter how it's gonna happen. It doesn't matter when it's gonna happen. What matters is what you're doing at this moment in time. Are you living to make the lives of people around you better? Are you living to make your own life better? If you are, then hey, you're living good. You're doing well, and that's the important thing. Live in service to other people in some kind of way, and make the world a better place so that those that are going to survive another day can have a better place to be. That's the point of it. Be happy. And if you're not happy, be, like I said last night, on the Man Show, right? I was saying, be true to yourself. Be true to who you were born to be. And if you're not being true to who you were born to be, then start living to be true for who you were born to be.
You're 100% are correct. And the problem that I have is, I don't know which day I'm going to die, but on another note, I'm just amazed that it's almost like, how those guys would go to the girls and just like want to suck their toes, or, it's an addiction. I mean, people are addicted to, it's going to crash into the earth, and it's going to be like, we're going to live like Waterworld, or it's going to be like that movie 2012. It's going to be, and they have no idea of the possibilities all the calculations it will take to make that one situation happen. That's the first case. But the second problem is, do you even know how rich you're making these people that are making these stupid predictions, and you're buying it?
Well, it's a thing of too, Daryl, that when it comes to this stuff, right? If the world is going to end, if you're going to be in fear of this, world-ending event, why are you worried about it? The world is going to end. What the hell can you do about it? What is you being all fearful and afraid going to do to change any of it? Nothing. Not one damn thing.
How about,
like I said, just give me 5 minutes to bend over and kiss my ass goodbye and pray.
But you see what I'm saying? I mean, people get so strung out on this fear stuff that they forget to pay attention to the lives that they actually are living. They're so wrapped up in the fear that they can't actually live. So why are they even bothering? Why even bother?
The problem that you really have is, are these people that are quote unquote holding this fear and making love to this fear, because that's what they're literally doing, making love to something on an emotional level.
Sure.
Are they actually giving up all their possessions?
No, and that's the thing, that's the kicker of it all, is that a lot of them are doing like all this whole prep stuff, right? They're stockpiling food, they're stockpiling water, they're stockpiling guns and ammo and clothes and on and on and on. And then they are afraid of, this meteor is going to come down and it's going to destroy the world because the world is going to turn, the skies are going to be black and nobody's going to survive. Well, then what the heck did you gather all that stuff together for? It's not going to be any good because you're dead.
It's for you to find it, Ira. You and your glorious beard will capture it.
I will capture it, yes.
The sun and Narubu. That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
I will capture Nibiru once again. I will protect everybody from it. Yes. It's a weirdness that happens in people, where they become so enamored with the idea of death that they're waiting for that moment of death to come, that they don't actually do any kind of living. They don't do anything to make the world a better place. They don't do anything to make their lives a better life. They just have given up entirely on everything and are just waiting for that moment to die. And it's like, then why bother? Just take yourself out of the equation right now. And I'm not condoning suicide or anything like that, but it makes sense, right? If you're so afraid that all of this is going to happen and you're waiting for that moment of death, then why even bother being around here to begin with?
That's a true statement. I can't even argue with it. And the one thing is, I'm trying to figure out, where did this all begin? Did it begin when the minister said, if I don't get this money, God's going to call me home?
Oh, that was Creflo Dollar needing $65 million.
What?
Needing I need $65 million to get myself a new plane, because if I don't, God said he's going to let me die.
No, that was $5 million.
And everybody gave. I mean, it's insanity. It really is.
If you can actually to manipulate, it's not even manipulation. This is just straight, the word I want to use, I wouldn't want to say. But yeah, this is straight getting to the point. Yeah, that's the word I can use. This is straight getting to the point when it comes to you people out there. And you're willing to give and take away from your own family, your own livelihood, your own life to satisfy the needs and the joys of another individual. But hold on, those same people won't even give a dime to a network like this that is giving you the education.
Right, exactly.
Trying to give you things. We're not fear porning you. We're not telling you no lies. We're not trying to manipulate you. We're not trying to get you on our side by any form of indoctrination. We're trying to get the truth here.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that the world isn't going to end someday. I'm not saying
in 13 minutes your show will end.
In 13 minutes, right, exactly. I'm not saying that the world's not going to come, to a crashing halt someday. That's possible. I mean, we know, if scientists are right, one day that big ball of gas that's out there in the middle of our solar system is going to expand out and become this huge red giant, and it's going to literally eat the earth. It's literally going to take over this planet and eat it into itself, and we become one with the sun that we once were. But that is, what?
That's in the future. That's way
3 billion years in the future. I mean, what you do today is not going to really matter at that point in time. But it's like so many people are so afraid that death is coming that they forget how to live. And I just want people to understand, look, death happens. Okay. I predicted it. Everybody, you are going to die. Okay. You absolutely are going to die. But what are you doing with your life in the meantime? Are you making it?
It's called a legacy.
Are you making it so that your kids are living a happy life? Are they happy? Are they miserable? If they're miserable, why are they miserable? Make their lives better. The neighbors, your friends.
All my inheritance, so they ain't gonna get none.
Well, that's okay. But that just makes them more self-resilient, right? Anyway, yeah. So
put them in the desert.
And my kids, I've been poor all my life, so my kids have no legacy as far as that goes.
Yes, they do. They got the father that is a dynamic writer. They got the father who's written books that could make someone angry and also make somebody scared crapless, especially if anybody remembers the Spookathon we had when he played his audio version of his stories. Sorry, Ira, I have to just step you back on that one. Truth is, you left a legacy that is embedded within the children. And that's the thing that is most important. It's not about wealth. It's not about money. It's what you can do to add something to someone's life. And that is a legacy. I'm about to choke.
Make humanity a better thing, make the world a better place to live. I mean, how many people have done things in their lives that make other people miserable, right?
That's a lot of them because it's easy to do.
It is.
It's easier to give hell than to give somebody heaven.
It really is.
Those words are according to human today's life description. We neither know whether it is a true hell existence or a true heaven existence. But I'm using the words so people don't think that Gerald's saying, oh, there is a heaven and there is a hell.
But the thing is, we can make heaven or hell here on the planet. Right now, everybody seems to be focused on making it into hell. We can change that. Yeah. But we change that one step at a time. We change that with the attitudes that we have and the joy that we bring to other people's lives. Look, if you go to the gas station, okay, I'm just going to give you an example of one little thing that everybody out there is freaking capable of doing. Okay, every single person listening right now, you are absolutely capable of doing this. You go to a gas station, somebody's in front of you in line, smile at them. Give them a smile. That's all you have to do. You don't even have to say hi. Just, smile. Whatever. Give them a small taste of humanity because you never know how much of an impact that's going to make. That person that's standing in front of line with you could be having a day where they would have gone home and killed themselves because they were just done with humanity. Nobody cares about them. There's no hope whatsoever. They may as well just give it up and be done with it, right? But your smile could make them think, you know what? There was somebody that was nice today.
I mean,
and how hard is that to do?
You're talking about the impossible right now because under Mercury retrograde, you have the insanity. But, those that aren't insane can do that. And, when I was living in upstate New York, what we used to do was in the morning, people in the cars would buy a cup of coffee for the person behind them.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, it's like people be driving fast trying to keep up to you just to say thank you. But, you're gone. But next time morning, you find the same thing happen to the next person and then just to you. And it becomes a road chain event where the person in front buys the coffee for the person behind them. And then you just go ahead, since you're buying the coffee, your bill, you're paying for the person behind you. I mean, that's something that's kind, especially when people are in a rush and trying to go somewhere. Kindness does break that wagon wheel. Oh, it would tear it up. And kindness will soften the heart of the most angry person. And I used to be that angry person.
I'll tell you, one thing I have found. One thing I have found to be true.
It's always good to pay it forward or pay it backward or however you call it.
Yeah, pay it forward. Yeah. One thing I have learned in my life that I would love for everybody to have as a lesson with all of this stuff is that you can't fight an emotion by hitting it with the same emotion. If somebody's coming at you in anger, you've got to hit them with the opposite emotion to get it to stop in its tracks. If you get angry, all you're doing is feeding it, and you're feeding them the anger that you're feeling, and they're feeding you the anger that they're feeling, and it boils more and more and more. It's a feedback loop that keeps growing and growing and growing, and it's not going to stop until everybody's lost it. Okay, you've got to hit the things with the opposite emotions. One of the things that I was talking to my guest about earlier, is that I understand Jesus, I think, a little bit better now that I'm not a professing Christian than I did when I was a professing Christian. And one of the lessons that he was trying to teach was to love one another, love your enemies, love those that hate you. How do you combat hate? You hit it with love, because you can't hate somebody and get them to stop hating you. It doesn't work.
You know something, Ira? You sound like you were listening to Augie's show today, because at the end of his show, he was talking about love and how powerful love can be. Love can make a person jump up for joy. Love can make a person heal.
It really can.
I mean, love is a very powerful instrument. Now, fear is powerful, but love is a lot more. And
love is more powerful. I will say that flat out. Love is a more powerful and potent emotion than hate. And it's harder. It's hard to live in love. It really is. It's very difficult, but it can be done. Guys, I hate to say it, but we're almost out of time here.
I love you, Ira.
Yes, you are. You got like about 5 minutes left.
Not even that, because I need to start wrapping things up here. So
I noticed you put up a whole bunch of new music up on the server. That's pretty cool.
I did, yeah. I put about 12 hours of different more modern music.
Well, you're going to be getting a whole shitload soon.
Sounds good. Well, Doug, what do you got to say as final here? Because we've got to cut things off here. So,
my thoughts. Well, let's see. Live and learn. That's it. Live and learn.
Sounds good. Doug, thanks for calling in. We appreciate you being here. Talk to you soon. Daryl, what do you have as your final say here tonight?
My final say is going to be simple. Love, love, love. Wow, I just sound like somebody in a movie I saw.
Love, love. It's a Beatles song.
Yeah, I know. But, love is very powerful. And I was talking to my mother about that today. And sometimes you overlove. And that's another show. When you overlove somebody, you kind of covet them, and they don't ever reciprocate.
But that's not actually love. But we can definitely get into that on another show.
Another show. I know. I smelled it.
Or you can pick up my book, When Good Relationships Go Bad. I talk about it in there.
It's that Neither Worldwide Publishing.
It is indeed. It is indeed.
We're on this Saturday. We got an up for grabs show, and it's on Encounters with the Neelys at 7 p.m. So please get your ears ready for that. And please donate and show your love towards the Open Eyes Network, L&M Radio Network, and love each other as a family in whole, because we never said we didn't love you. We just said we love you. Just don't trust those people that's going to give you gloom and doom. Thank you very much.
Exactly.
I love you. I'm off.
Love you too, Daryl. Have a great night, and we will talk to you again soon.
All right. Mwah. Love, love, love.
So there you guys go. A little bit of Daryl Neely there, and thank you for joining in with us. I want to thank my guest earlier tonight as well, Michael Chrobak. Make sure you guys go to my links and check out his books. Really great author. I think that you guys will really like him. If you guys want to go to the archive of this show, it's going to be over at my website, openeyesnetwork.com. You guys can also send me an email to feedback@openeyesnetwork.com, or find us on social media, Open Eyes Network, on all of the different social media platforms out there. You guys can also find us over on YouTube at youtube.com/C/Open Eyes Network. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button while you're over there so you can get notified of when we put out something new, which is quite frequent. So make sure you guys do that as well. And as Daryl was saying, we are a listener-supported radio station over there at lnmradionetwork.com. Make sure you guys come on over there and subscribe or donate. Keep us on the air. We really do need your help, or you won't hear shows like this anymore. We've given you guys a lot of truths here in this last hour, and hopefully you guys were paying attention. I hope that you guys enjoyed tonight. I know I definitely did. If you guys want to check out my books, you guys can head over to my website, originalworlds.com. I would love for you guys to get into some of the things that I've got to offer. I've got books that I'm going to be publishing here in the next couple of months, so some new stuff coming out from me. Until next time, keep safe out there, have fun, and thank you so much, as always, for listening. We'll talk to you again soon. I'll be back on Sunday, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Money and Change, followed by the Positude Podcast.